Greetings, everybody. Welcome to the Monday night call for Councilman Reeves. We appreciate everybody who took time out of their day to be here. And this past Saturday, we went to the Cottages on Vine. For those who are not familiar with the Cottages on Vine, they are the first cottage homes that took them about 5 years to get them built. And this weekend was their 1-year anniversary. And they, the councilman paid for the city, anyone in the city who wanted to go and attend, he paid for everybody in the city to go. And he paid for the shuttle for anybody who wanted to attend and needed a ride. And so the point of going to the Cottages on Vine was initially Councilman Reeves put in to do the cottage homes here in the city of South Fulton. It was denied, I guess, before I came on. And so the city of College Park approved it. They've already scheduled the land to make it at the end of Gobby Road, past the market and that dead end, and they sold out. And so the company that is helping them process that through that process is Microlife, who is also the ones who created the ones in Clarkston, Georgia, for the in the city of Clarkston. And so the executive director had us tour. That's the bus we took out there, the shuttle that we had. And this was the location that we ended up going to, the Cottages on Vine, which has 8 homes in a little cul-de-sac on less than in almost it was 5.5 something. It was a little over a half an acre that they got 8 homes on. And so they don't allow you to they were very strategic in the way they built it. They have the parking is in a row. There is no parking to pull up to your house. So you have to park and your mailbox are at the end, and they are all energy efficient. So that's the solar panels. They are 750 square feet. When we went, they seemed, this is what they look like. They're in their own little cul-de-sac. All the flowers, I think, were edible or were spices and different things that you could eat were planted around their area. They consider it a livable community, that they connect with each other. Councilman Reeves and Representative Mandisha Thomas. This is some of the attendees in front of the homes. If you can see, each home has different flowers and different information out there. So they have tomatoes, they have all kinds of stuff out there. So each of the homes are built differently. One home is considered a tiny home, and we didn't know what the difference was. So they did go over that. And then the executive director, after everybody, you got to walk on your own and tour each of the homes. It was 8 homes, 5 people were home, and they already live in the homes. And so this is their actual house that they live in that we're walking through. And so this is the different houses, as you can see them across the yard. They were actually bigger than we thought. I know Miss Jane is on here. You can come on and talk and say what you want as well. I don't know who else made it to the tour that can come on and talk, but please feel free to share your thoughts and comments.
Oh yeah, hello everyone. I hope everyone is well tonight. Oh yeah, I really enjoyed the tour. I thought the houses were, fantastic for if that's your type of living, which I could live there. And even living with 490 square feet, you know, it may seem like it's not a lot, but technically it was good size, you know, kitchen and the living room and your bedroom, the bathroom. I thought it was very good size for, you know, if you're a person that can live on a minimum of stuff. And I think it brings back what a community is all about, you know, knowing your neighbors, watching out for your neighbors. And, you know, just like he said, he was sick with COVID and, you know, he had his neighbors brought him food, they checked on him. And, you know, they had a fire pit, you know, and where you could just have a great little gathering out there with the community. And then they had a bench where, you know, you could go out there and sit out there and eat your lunch or meal or whatever. So I really enjoyed, I'm glad that, and I really enjoyed being on the bus because I was going to drive myself. I thought I was going to be in Loganville Saturday. And when I found out I wasn't, I called Tamiko and said, I want to get on the bus. So I was glad to get on the bus. You know, I met people that I didn't really know. And so I thought it was a good fellowship, even, you know, going to eat afterwards. So I just thought it was a great day all the way around. And so I was glad I was a participant. So thank you for allowing me to share.
Thank you. I think Mr. Clark is on here as well that attended. Any thoughts?
Yes, that was definitely a great visit. Being able to see those homes and being able to see the communal living that they were able to establish there. Personally, I think that would be, you know, a perfect type of community for South Fulton. And I think that there are some viable options in the future for us to be able to just explore that type of living. Yes, we have to look at the pros and cons and be able to, you know, assess what would be amenable to the entire community. But it was really, really good to see homes from 750 square feet on down to, I think one of them was 292 square feet. And the guy showed us everything about, you know, his space, how he moves around. And, you know, it was very, very efficient, very lean living. And I think that can also be a viable option for either our senior living or, you know, youngsters that are just getting started with the home buying process. I mean, you know, the way that the housing market is going now, there'll definitely be some opportunities in the future and people will start looking to this. So for us to be forward thinking and, you know, Councilman Reeves to even think about this, I definitely commend him for his great foresight in order to do that. And I'm definitely on board with something like this coming to South Fulton.
Exactly. And they even said, I think there was like some modifications because, you know, one of the issues we brought up was the fact that, you know, they all had steps. So, you know, and even on the inside, they had like some steps to go up to the attic. So one of the questions was, you know, well, what do we do about our seniors if they want to live in something like this? And they said that it could be modified. You know, if you had someone that was disabled, you know, challenged or something like that, that, you know, it could be modified. So I thought it was good.
Yeah. This is Ernestine Sumner. May I ask a question?
Sure.
Of the 8 homes that you all visited, was the model of the homes different or were they all the same, the floor plans?
So they actually aren't models. They actually live in these houses and they let us come in. They let you do tours once a month. So we are in somebody's house right now.
Okay.
And so if you notice, each one looks different. So no, they weren't the same. Like this is one person's kitchen. And so if you notice, it still looks, their space was bigger than we thought it was going to be when we got in there. We really thought they were going to be crammed in there, and we were like surprised. You see how this one has a nook in there in her closet. Some had bigger closets, some had smaller closets.
Tamika, I'm sorry.
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, like, are you pointing at something? Because all I see is a whole row of pictures and like, are you pointing at a particular picture or something? Because I can't see that.
No, I'm just highlighting like the different floor plans that her question was. I'm showing her that depending on whose house you went in, they look different.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I couldn't really see.
I didn't
how
know
it-
if they were all the same or not, but they were different setups.
Right.
Okay.
Some had bigger closets, some had smaller closets, some had bigger bathrooms, had smaller bathrooms. Like this one has these steps in the space that was upstairs. Some were bigger or smaller, some had storage rooms up there. Some had washer dryers, some didn't, some had food pantries, some didn't. Trying to see, some had bigger front steps. Going back the other way to try to show you the other
Even
way.
the back, even some had like a patio deck, and some had like a deck on the back with also, a porch on the back. So, and a
Mhm.
crawl
Yeah,
space.
and all of them had very, very nice porches on the front. I remember
Mhm.
the one with the nicest porch was actually the smallest house. He said he does a lot of entertaining there. And he was able to have 2 couches on the front porch, and people can sit out there. He has a little, uh he said he serves wine and stuff on the weekends when he has people come over. I mean, really, because people think tiny homes, they think cramped space. The spaces are just an efficient use of space. When
That's
builders
right.
build houses and they build like huge houses, they really don't have to worry about an efficient use of space. This is a very, very efficient use of space, so you don't feel cramped in these houses. You don't feel smushed in these houses. You can move around fine. The only house that you couldn't stand up in the loft was the 290 square foot house, and he said he uses that as storage. So he doesn't even go up there. He said he stores his winter clothes up there. So yeah, it's a very efficient use of space.
And two, it just lets you know that you don't need all the stuff that you have. You know, you just like Mario is saying, you really, the only way to me you will feel cramped if you try to take everything you have in a 3-bedroom house or a 4-bedroom house and try to put it in that, 1 bedroom or whatever. That's the only way to me you would feel cramped.
And I will say I was very shocked that all of them had the energy efficiency. They said their utility bill was $60 a month, summer and winter. They also said that their mortgage was only like $900 a month, which is less than rent these days. This is an example of one of the porches. And so you could definitely tell that they hang out together and talk to each other. And there was some pros and cons. People did ask questions like how you see this is a gravel sidewalk. The handicapped people said that didn't work for them, or the steps didn't work for them. That's a different porch. So there were definitely things that people brought up on what they would want if it was their kind of community. Ms. Collins, you got your hand raised?
I do. I don't see any grass. Who do they have a HOA, and who is responsible for the upkeep and maintenance of the outside?
So when he did his discussion, they asked about that. These, if you notice the way they landscaped it, you don't see much grass. They put in um edible stuff. They put in water efficient flowers and things of those. Like they were very strategic. You could tell they were very strategic on what they planted to be earth friendly or for them to eat it. They also they didn't have grass for the answer. No, they have edible, and they had herbs and different things like that in here. If you notice, they even had uh, a tomato vine thing growing.
I understand that, but however, weeds are gonna grow up around those plants.
Well, I think they had something down where,
A
where
barrier?
where the weed won't be
But
growing down, because I think it was some kind of like wood chips or something that was down
Eventually,
there. And
eventually
It
we
is a
will grow
common
up through that.
area. It is a common area that they all maintain, just like an entrance to your
Okay,
HOA. So they all
okay.
work to maintain that area.
right. And then there was some grass, and the grass that was in the common area is like where the fire pit was. It's like where the bench was, and those little areas where you hang out at.
Yeah, one small lawnmower could handle that entire area. And just like they said,
Oh, weedy.
yes, a weed eater can really handle because all the land is vegetation.
Yep.
And like you said, they had everything from mint to blueberries to tomatoes, all in front of each other's yard. And I think the question did come up about the HOA, and he did say they have an HOA, but since it is a communal property and they speak to each other, they handle most issues by just talking to each other and communicating. Because remember, it's only 8 homes, so it doesn't get to the point where, because somebody asked specifically about code enforcement, and they do have it in place, but they, from what I understand, and guys, please correct me, I don't think they ever had to use it in that instance because they just said they speak to each other, and they just let them know like, hey, you need to tidy up your area.
They did say that if they had to go there, they do have HOA stuff in place, but he talked about the fact that this was not a place that you would buy a home that you want to just go in and out your house and you don't want to speak to your neighbors and your house is your house. This is a communal area. So whoever bought to be in this area had to already want to have the heart to want to be part of a community, not to live in their own little corner. So I don't know how they did it, but I'm going to assume a conversation somewhere in the sales process was had, because they were in a community place for the fact that they were letting everybody, strangers, walk through their house and ask them any question they want.
Excuse me, I have another question.
Go ahead.
Okay, are they allowed at some point to rent these houses? And if so, will they have strict stipulations?
So in this community, I think he said they addressed all that stuff inside of the HOA, and they could not have more than, I think, one rental property at a time in there. And it was very, whatever is written up is very no rental scenario going on. So I think they had the potential to have one rental in there, but they could not all be rentals. And then they have another community that is going to test some part of the rental process, and it's going to have 16 homes, but it was only for so long, or temporary rental or something. I can't remember the exacts, but he said that it was coming up soon. So I asked him for more information to let us know about it. But he also was more than willing to come on and talk to people if they wanted to know more information.
And also, do they have a restriction on how many people are allowed to live in one of these homes?
No one asked that question, but he said that the living space was for 1 to 2 people.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All righty.
I am so glad that y'all, the people who did come, took out the time to come. And so as education is about any topic, particularly of this nature, is very key and vital, as and it beats, having misinformation, but you're able to see firsthand, and that how the market does dictate what is to come, because this is the future, and this is a part of us as together, particularly with our stakeholders, to be a part of a process, and first looking at the concept, understanding the concept, and also to helping out, they're playing out the concept on where these pocket neighborhood community clusters can go as we look and, to update, our planning and zoning on areas that it can go. And one of the things that they did address was the property home values that actually increased. So those are the facts as they are. But I do want to take that time to tell everybody to thank you and for your interest in this, as this topic of conversation is going nowhere, but it's just going to go further and to expand and expound upon what the opportunities are that we do have in front of us. And thank you all, and then for the interest. And we do have a video on the people who could not make the tour thanks to the suggestion made last week. And so that's coming together. And then once that's on, we'll drop that on the website. So the people who did not have a chance to go see will have that opportunity to see the video as well. So that's awesome. Thanks to Leverett and Broderick. And so we appreciate them as well, as they helped us out. And we did stop and have a nice breakfast at what's they call the Rising Sun. And or brunch or whatever you want to call it. But is and thanks to my colleague Dr. Ralph for coming out too as well. So I appreciate all of that.
And the carrot cake was good too.
It was pretty doggone good, I must say. Like, I was really wanting some Haagen-Dazs vanilla ice cream with it, but I was just saying, but I had to settle for the cake, but it was good. But go ahead, Tamika. You were saying something. I didn't mean I was going to interrupt.
Ms. Allen, you have a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to know what are the plans for next steps regarding this type of community or similar in the city of South Fulton? Councilman.
Oh, the next steps is that to look at we do have a new CDRA director. And then so as we look at our updating our zoning and planning map, what's a zoning map, is to look at the area and then see, what area can be updated, because there will have to be, a zoning classification, which we already do have it actually on the books, and of cottage style homes. And so these are not tiny homes. and so, they are cottage style homes. And the only difference is there was wanted to have, a variance or people to be allowed to have a 250 square foot place. And so, which is a classification of a tiny home. But that is just to allow for maybe 1 or 2 units so that they'd be able to have the ability. But, some of them go from, 492 square feet, and some of them is up to, 800 square feet. And so, and there was an example in this, because I think we went from 250 square feet up to 650 square feet, I believe. And so, it's amazing amount of space. Or when you think of 250 square feet and you actually see it like actually, live, it's just like, wow, people can actually live in a space like this, and people actually want to live in a space like this. So our next steps is looking at planning and zoning, looking at the zoning map, and seeing where it can go community to community, because this is a citywide thing. And so it's probably gonna take some time, but but if you build it, people will come. Now, I will tell you this, as I got educated on this, a pocket cluster community that's gated already exists in the city of South Fulton. 21 years ago, it was constructed, and it's right off of Cascade. And so imagine that. as we're gonna be going over there and talk. Miss Banji Watkins, she's a resident of that area. She came on the tour with us as well. So we're to have this does exist already. This pocket cluster community literally already exists in the city of South Fulton. And so but like I said, it's the difference is it's the use would want to allow for a person to be able to construct a 250 square foot unit as well, but it wouldn't be a whole community of 250 square foot dwellings. And so a whole what you would consider a tiny home community. These are cottage home communities. I want to be very clear on that. So that's our next step.
Did we mention the cost of the homes? I think somebody asked that. Did we mention that while I was out?
Go ahead, tell them, Jane, what was the cost of these homes?
I can't remember. No, no,
I'll
David.
do it.
No, what? I'm sorry, who's that?
I'll do it if you don't remember. I can tell them.
Okay, you can go ahead, because I think they was, they
The
started out
average?
at 100,000, but. they
Yes,
ended up-
and the reason they came up to 100,000 is because of some of the things that the different permits and protocols they had to address over the years to get it built. And the ground base part came up to around 40,000. They had to pay 5,000 for water attachment. And then the structure, so it came up between 100 to 150,000, but some of the homes were already appraising in the 200,000, I think.
And somebody paid for the one or two of the homes right out, right? I think might have been at 250 square foot.
The property values have increased. But go ahead.
Oh, so yeah, so and right, the property have increased. So I think some of the homes now will be going for like, I think they said $300,000. I think that's what that's.
But they also talked about some of the issues they went through. There was a home next to them, and he talked about all communities not having the same type of housing in them. And he saw there was a house next to them that had 5 bathrooms. And he said their water attachment was $5,000, but they made them pay $5,000 for each home. And he didn't understand why they didn't charge them $1,000 per bathroom, which would have been just $8,000 when the house next to them was only $5,000 for five bathrooms. So that was one of the examples of things they had to go through to get them built, that they enforced on them. So it was different topics that he brought up that they've kind of learned how to what to address or not to address, or things that needed to be included. So that it becomes to Ms. Mapp's question, that there's got to be another conversation on how to get the city to understand what is needed for those type of homes and make those modifications to get that to occur.
There has to be some investment on the part of the city, not only to help a developer to overcome those hurdles, but also so that the city can understand what it takes in that kind of development. He offered that there were some classes that his institute can provide in the Microlife Institute on managing and developing and managing these kinds of communities, which would be on the part of the city, I believe, to invest in that knowledge. I think the classes were $395 or $365.
Yeah, they weren't much. They just had to want to learn. And then they also had a certification program for the construction side as well.
Right. And well, the class does provide that certification. So the right individuals that would be involved in that kind of project, whether it be city officials or contractors, would benefit by the city would benefit by having those individuals certified, to make sure that for any project involved that the city might get involved in, you have the right people with the right knowledge in place.
Those are the facts. Absolutely. As well as it should be. And so, because this type of investment is going to require, all the mindsets to align to really make this a reality, particularly staying in concept with the design aspect, because essentially you don't want no two homes next to each other to look alike and be like, and so it's designed as sustainable. Many of them had solar panels, all of them had solar panels on them. So it's the height of it, because it brings in, like, the more concept of space. They did have loft areas, particularly if there's a senior community, though they can, architecturally design it different without the loft spaces for safety issue, for to just make sure that everybody is at a level of comfort on what their mobility allows them to do. Of course, go ahead.
I'm sorry, interrupting. He said that the senior communities would have to, or the senior construction would have to be adapted to be ADA compliant.
I was just going there. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and that's possible. They would be on one level.
Correct.
That's correct.
And so, right, as we will all want that to happen, and so that these are all the things that is conceptualized. So but this is just the first step in getting educated in the process on bringing what will take to make this a reality. And it's pretty much, it's a team effort. And so this is a community, local municipal uh, level coming together and shaping the idea of, where to come and where it can be. And so a pocket cluster community consists of, as is stated on the books, is 2 to 20 acres, a minimum of 2 acres, maximum of 20 acres, a minimum of 5 dwellings, a maximum of 36 dwellings. And these are what's considered a pocket neighborhood cluster community. So on the books right now, so that puts everybody a little over half an acre of a lot to have. And so what you do have in the home space, keep in mind you still have the yard space and the green space area that is around your home. And so, and all of these can come with the architect design of, in the future, if you want to add on in additions, it can be designed up that add-ons can be there. And so many people look at the concept, and also too now want the ability not just for the communities to be constructed, but for them to have people who have existing yard space and green space to add on these type of houses within an existing community for like an in-law suite, or a or what they call it, still like some people have to bring on their parents or bring on some elders that they love and care about dearly, but people really want to have the ability to have still some privacy, and that they want to be independent living but still be connected. So that's another concept that people want to have and looking at for this type of home as well. I saw someone put in the chat, said 1,000 square feet. What's that?
Well, Corey, this is Alejandro. How you doing? I
Hey,
mean,
Al, how you doing?
well, I mean, what I'm saying is most of those houses, I think from the gentleman said they were about 800 square feet on the larger side. But what he was saying is that you could actually add and really get to like probably like 1,000, maybe 1,100 is probably like the max. And remember, people, that they're more really just a cottage house that's like 800 to whatever square footage that you want, that we're just talking about. and anything under 400 square feet is considered a tiny house. So the misnomer is there's a tiny house. It's a cottage house, just basically a small house. I mean, let's be real. We've seen some houses around here. I've seen some that are for sale, 1,500 square feet. Some houses in Atlanta, 900 square feet that are old, like, in certain districts of Metro Atlanta or City of Atlanta, 1,000 square feet. So they're the same size. Just the difference is they're just on a bigger footprint of land in many cases. But this is, so it's nothing new. It's just different. You got to change your concept and your thought process as to what you're looking at. So
Absolutely. And let me tell you how new it's not, right? And so in Columbus, Georgia, is I went down there as well, is this place, Patriot Point. It's actually a senior high-rise community. And this was constructed in the 1960s. And every unit in there is 250 square feet. So they actually have a whole concept of this already that exists, and it just went through a major reconstruction. And that's down in Columbus, Georgia. So if anybody's down that way, just stop Patriot Point, then you can see for yourself as this is, I mean, this is just awesome. It's just kind of a new idea to us, but really it came out from, from over Pacific, over in Asia and Japan, as this has been their way of living. And the migrate over here to San Francisco was one of the ones that really kind of bring this back, because, in New York, as people was density and was running out of space, and so micro concepts and affordable to what they could afford, and to be in an area where that they wanted to be living and thriving. So I mean, but at the end of the day, us we're here, and just like I said, to have everybody who got educated to be just know the facts is, I think that this is a right step in the conversation, of an educational process on what we have, because we're all learning together, right? And so, but yeah, and I appreciate that information, Alice. You're absolutely right. So, but it's something that I'm looking forward to the continuing the conversation, the continuing the engagement.
And I just want to say, everybody who went did not go with all four, yes, let's have cottage homes. Be very clear, there were people who came with legitimate questions on what was going on, and were not for it. However, on our ride back, we went around the whole bus, and even the ones who said they were not for it before they went, going in person and seeing it, compared to the information they had heard online or people had told them, they realized a lot of it was misinformation, and then getting the answers from the people who live there and the executive director who helped get it developed, helped clarify a lot of things that they thought about the cottage homes, and realized that they did not know the correct information. So I'd just like to say, those of you who have not gone should take time to go another day. The councilman won't be paying for you another day, but you can go a different day. If you go look up Micro Life, Cottages on Vine, you're more than welcome to go. But we did the city event, so.
Indeed. So yes, this is going to be absolutely wonderful. So what else is going on in the world of what y'all want to talk about in the great city of South Fulton?
Hey, Councilman, Jane
Yes,
here.
ma'am. Yes,
Hey,
ma'am.
okay, I just want to let the people know that I spoke to Mr. Glenn Washington, Assistant Fire Chief, for Fire Station 7, which is our area, except on Fairwood, they have 2 fire stations, I think. One is 7 and the other one, where 7 ends, 1 starts. And he was, because somebody had asked the question a few weeks ago, what about the homes, the older homes that, you know, they wanted to see if they could get more fire hydrants there, right? So he stated that, you know, they have enough hose to cover that area, so they won't be able to put out any fire hydrants in, you know, the older community. So that the hoses that they have, they are long enough to, you know, to put out a fire, wherever it may be. And that they check the fire hydrants twice a year. That's April and October, and they're about at the end of checking it for April. Next month, they should be finished. And everything is digital. And if we have any questions, you know, he gave me his number. And if you all would like for him to come on a Monday night, then let me know, and I'll see if he can do it.
Absolutely. We would love to happen, Jay Williams. And so a D5 influencer. And so, as well as, what is the reality of them being able to paint those fire hydrants out there as unique identifiers, knowing that you are in the city of South Fulton?
Right. So I did speak to him about that. He was a little hesitant because of the fact that he stated the top of the fire hydrant, it stands for something, you know, so it has a meaning behind it. But, you know, I was riding through Union City yesterday, and the top of their fire hydrants are painted. So I was like, well, I'm going to go back to him on that and find out, because he said that, you know, they couldn't really paint the fire hydrant because the top stood for something. But and even the city of Douglasville, Tamiko shared this with me, showed me a cute picture of their fire hydrant. It looked real good. So, you know, we're just gonna have to, I'm gonna have to have some reinforcement with him on that. So when he come on, we'll have to make sure we find out more about why we can't have our fire hydrants painted.
All right, Mr. Denton.
Hello there.
Hi.
Just a quick question. What is going on in our government here with our mayor announcing what he announced today? I know haven't really nobody talked
How
talked
the
about it.
council is just going rogue and about. Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. There was a
But
press
you know,
conference.
that's a
Yeah,
big
you
old pink elephant
should
in the room. We got to talk about what's going on down there.
You know, Councilman
foolishness.
always wait on one of us to bring this up.
Oh, absolutely, because this is y'all call. Like I tell you that I'm trying to tell you, there is no topic off limit from 6:30 to 7:30 on Monday. We're gonna bring it. We're gonna bring the fire, gonna bring the rain, gonna bring the truth, because the spin stops here. As understanding something, we never run from anything. Absolutely, we gonna run to this conversation, okay? Because there was a whole press conference held at Kevin Lott today on this, and how the fire city attorney that we have been down this road before. That's oxygen. Given that, that's absolutely just cannot happen. And they talked about what as to give advice on we take action back in executive session can't be possible, because we have to come out in public any action that's taken and out there to announce it to the public, and we have to actually vote on it. So that's dispelled, and executive session is one of those topics that we can talk about: real estate, personnel, and litigation, as those are only three topics that we can talk about. And because executive session gives us the privilege to speak about those things that needs to be addressed in a form that we can all be together legally under the sunshine laws, is that we can't necessarily expose those to the public as, you know, exposing out their ongoing investigations, which, you know, you just legally can't do. And so that's another topic of deal. And so listen, I do understand that it's toxicity going around, and many people see this as not a council versus a mayor, but something as political indifferences, more as personal indifferences. And yeah, he yielded by some people from the council. This dates way back pre-existing me being on this council. And so that, and I do understand that a lot of the sentiment is that people are saying that the mayor is just getting shut down every single way that he would try to whatever he would bring or try to put forward would get shut down, and not yield. And it could be a frustrating task, because that really, that there is, when they say the mayor has no power, understand something. That's a misnomenclature on what it is. The mayor has no vote, right? So your power is in the vote, and if you want to do something, maintain your vote. But the mayor is a major influencer of what the city is and the representation, because ain't nobody coming to the city hall saying, "Hey, I want to meet with the council person," as they're going to want to meet with the mayor. And so, and that's just the position of that seat it holds, and I respect that position. And so, no matter whoever holds it, that the person occupying it is our influencer of the city. That's my opinion, and I do act accordingly. But some of the stuff that has been said just should not be put out there in a public forum to cause a spectacle and a debate, particularly around this time of the year, when this distraction is taken away from what we need to be focused on, which is our budget season. And so in our budget hearings that usually are taking place right now, and I'm confused as to why are we not giving that the attention that needs. Very importantly, because we have a bunch of issues to talk about, from these detention ponds to these for our public safety officials, and particularly the direction in Parks and Recs. And so, who lacks a director right now, as my focus, my fight to focus is bigger than my focus to fight. As we need to be focused on this budget and this budget season, as this is the biggest distraction, okay, to me, that is taken away from what the most important issue is why are we not there? And that is leadership from the staff perspective. Is the only person that I can talk to and hold accountable for this is the one person that is responsible for us to maintain that, and that's our city manager. And so I'm just not going to allow this distraction to take place and take higher precedence than what are focused on the quality of life issues that you, the constituents, are telling us that what we need to have and for our quality of life. Because there are so many things that we can be doing right now to address those very issues that you have in these complaints about, as they're posted on Nextdoor, as they're posted wherever they posted it, and wherever it's said to me in the grocery store, gas station, wherever people see me at, and on this call and through emails. As there's a solution right now to address this very thing. And we have a September deadline, people. So
Wanda has a question.
Yes, go ahead, Wanda.
Hi, I'm changing the topic back to the fire department. I was wondering, do the fire department are they on the same schedule as far as getting their entrances, the grass and hedges along the fire departments and the police departments? Are they on the same schedule as doing the roadside and things?
They should be in pristine, their number one priority, right? Because that's the representation.
Right, because I say they represent us. And, sometimes when I go past Fire Station 7, and also the police department that's right there on Old National, that's temporarily closed. It just seems like the front of those areas are unkept. I know if you go down into the fire department, the grass is cut down there, but like right in front of it, it's growed up. So I was just wondering, was special attention given to them to make sure that they're groomed so that they represent our city?
I would think that, and the property that we own, the property that the city of South Fulton actually owns, at the end of that city, particularly our fire departments, our parks and everything else should be the number one priority, most pristine.
be.
I mean, those are the priorities that we do own. So we do share that same sentiment, Ms. Wanda. And please send that to me in email format so I can just go ahead and submit that on up the chain. Because as we're entering into our budget year, let's make sure that we can give that the priority that it needs and deserves.
Okay, thanks. And I have one other issue. The garbage pickup. Have they gotten some kind of special permission for you guys to run outside of the hours that they normally set? Because before they would run from 7 o'clock on. This morning, my trash was picked up at 5:15 this morning. I woke up to the garbage trucks picking up trash, and I'm like, what in the world? This cannot possibly be the garbage people out here waking me up at this time of morning.
Now, Miss Wanda, check this out. At 6:13 a.m., they was picking up mine. Okay, I thought I was dreaming. I said, "Now hold on." And then, no, that's really the truth. Is I'm gonna tell you this: the complaints that are going so fast about they're missing the garbage pickup, that they're running outside of the hours because due to the short that they don't want any more excuses. Because see, we can't allow them to have no more excuses. But I'm just gonna be honest with you. I just think that they're gonna run outside the times to ensure that they do pick up everybody's trash on the day that they say they're gonna do it. And so
hold them accountable.
Get it. I get it. We still gotta hold them accountable now.
But the ordinance is, but the ordinance, Corey, the ordinance says the only way you're supposed to pick up outside the hours is a special administrative variance given by the planning and zoning department. And the only way that is usually given, that's like if they're going to a school and the school starts at 7 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, you're gonna probably say, hey, y'all can come at 6. You know, you don't want too much traffic. It's maybe going down Old National and there's a bunch of bus stops and daycares and stuff like that. That's the only, those are usually the only exemptions that you're going to allow for that. Because mine comes about 7:30, but sometimes he comes about 6:15, 6:30. I mean, I'm already up, but it's just so.
And I didn't have to be up this morning. It was 6:13. That's what I'm saying. I literally I was legit up already, and I just said, now, is this really what it is? And I said to myself, now watch this. Somebody's going to, and as it is, but you are right. There's that we do have to hold them accountable. I don't know if there was administrative variance given. I don't even know if they applied one. I'm still waiting for the KPIs. And so, but the key performance indicators called KPIs. So for anybody who just hear that terminology. And so, yeah, you are right. We want to hold them accountable. And so, so it's
because 5 o'clock in the morning is a bit extreme, coming.
Yeah. Trust me, I do know is like, because trust me, every little bit of sleep that you can possibly get is, when that bed is hugging you and it's like hugging you back, it's like, oh my God. And so it's been disrupted. Trust me, I know. And so, but we will find out. I will find out for you. And so is that it was any special administrative privileges given, and I very seriously doubt it. But the question will be asked because it was asked here.
All right, thank you.
But anybody else want to address what's going on from the topic of the whole whatever you want to address, please.
We got 2 more hands up, Mr. Farrell.
Well, no, I just want to ask, I guess from a legislative standpoint, Corey, why is it that the city council and staff are taking a month or so off to not have meetings? I mean, let's be honest. Y'all meet twice a month, work session, special call meeting, let's say 5 times a month on, give any potential given month. To take off a work session but like you said, when the budget starts on October 1st, that is unheard of because I'm planning my budget for January 1st, like now. And I'm meeting with my city manager, my finance department next week to plan for my budget. And we have to have our budget approved by November 30th, I think. So we're not taking time off. We're trying to compress everything in so we can get it done to make sure everyone has enough money allocated for the resources that they need for next year. So I'm just, that kind of perturbs me a little bit. So,
hey, Al, let me just tell you this. When we go check the vote record, I was the only one who standing alone and saying that's absolutely because when they say take June off, that's normal process because that's GMA's convention. So a June process is normal. But when you say take July, I said, whoa, that's absolutely in bureaucracy world, that's way too much because it's essentially 3 months. And as I knew that we had so much on the table that this was not the time to be taking a July recess, I didn't vote for it because I knew that essentially that 2 months is really 3 months because we don't come back to our regular voting meeting until August the 26th. That's too long. You know what happens in 3 months? And oh, by the way, how many special call meetings have we had since then? That's what I'm talking about. And so, how many are we gonna have to more have? It does make sense. Is I understand the June as that's like a break, but that for me is out there because GMA it usually is that week or that last week that our council meeting would be. So that's understandable. But we still could have a work session because I think that 2 days after we came and said take June and July off, I believe, we got to have a special call meeting the very next week. So I do understand these things preliminary. And so, because you can just look at everything around and they do have dates that things are due. So you're absolutely right, Alan. I share your sentiments. And so the person you have lent the seat to actually shares your sentiment in that mindset, where we are with that. And so, yeah. So I can't. You'll have to ask my other colleagues about their opinion and what they think about that. Is I was not in the affirmative on that, so I didn't agree with it then. I don't agree with it now.
Mr. Venable, you have a question?
Yeah, I was curious about the odd physics that we think that more germs appear in one part of the month on one side of the city and not on the other part of the month in the other part of the city. So why in the world are we doing virtual meetings on one meeting and in the same exact month we're doing live meetings?
That makes absolutely no sense. And so, what I mean? And because I am a proponent of these virtual meetings is as if y'all noticed that the last in-person meeting they had, I don't know if they considered me virtual or not, but I was present, but I could not be in a crowded room, in a break room. I'm sorry about that, and the guidelines not even being followed, and people are catching this thing out there, and this new Big Five or whatever these folks going to call it. But I was in my office, and so I guess I was virtual, but I was present in the building. But I'm just gonna let y'all know I'm not gonna subject myself because my number one safety is my number one priority. And so whatever I have to do that, that's what I'm going to do. Because that is, medical for me. And this is talking for somebody who has had COVID. And so I care about me the most. And so I can't do anything sick or dead. And so at the end of the day, that I'm going to protect myself. And so at whatever cost that is. And so I'm a proponent of virtual. I'm a proponent of the mask mandate. As you can just look at these latest results and follow from what the CDC count line says, and as far as what your Fulton County Health Department says. And so no safety, no accidents. And remember, safety should be your number one priority for you. And so I think you govern yourself accordingly.
But I understand your point, but you're missing the bigger point. It is
insulting.
It's insulting that you will do one on one side of the city and not on the other.
But why would you? Right. And that's what I'm saying is, so I'm going to, by practice and definition, is define that is because you're absolutely right. It's like, oh, you know what I mean? You're not good enough to be on this side of the tracks. Okay, let's just be realistic. But on that side of the track, oh, the air is cleaner, the air is fresher, the ice is colder. Stop playing with people. And
so when you brought that up in your discussion, how was it received?
Oh, I didn't bring it up in discussion, sir. I brought it up in actual practice. And so as you remember at the last meeting over there that I did not show up and somebody was saying, oh, well, that two people had this, and I asked the attorney, what are we under the emergency ordinance? And so it's not done by just discussion, sir. It's actually done in practice. So if you can't be over here, I can't go over there under the same 30-day guidelines. Is understand when people make these rules over there, they apply reciprocal no matter where you are. And so by that ordinance, I do not have to show up, and I will be virtual, sir. And so
Well, I mean, I understand
my
what you're
discussion
saying.
is in practice, because you're right, it is insulting. So
No,
I
but
don't
you,
talk
you,
about
you,
it. My actions dictate on what I think about it, sir.
well, I'm gonna respect that, and I'm gonna just let that go. But you are a representative of the entire city, and therefore, if a policy is discriminatory on one part of the city, a stronger action should have been said and made on this issue. But I'm gonna let that go.
But no, but you're absolutely right, though, sir. But a strong action was made, because see, what you do screams so loud, I can't hear what you have to say. And so my actions will dictate what I think about that, sir. And I believe that's the strongest statement that you can make.
So
Ms.
But thank you
Howard,
doubling
you
so
got a
much
down,
for your
question?
comment.
doubling
I do
down on the
have a
point.
question.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, my question is, the September deadline for the budget, is that the 1st of September or the end of September?
September the 29th.
September 29th. And
Or
will
third,
the,
just get this. And remember, we still got Labor Day involved in all this. We still got a whole bunch of other stuff. And because October 1 starts our new budget year. So we don't just, like, they're planning for like Val said, they're planning for a January 1st, their calendar year, but their budget, everything is due by November 30th. Oh, we're in July, August. So really, you're going to say August the 31st is when all this should be wrapped up and finalized. As right now, we are usually talking about just, hey, I don't make this stuff up, but factual history, and look it up. And where are we at as a government and our budget discussions, as we talk about a budget retreat, budget hearings, this and that, third, presented to the community? Because don't forget now, there still have to be budget hearings out there. We have to discuss this in public over there too, whereas you can see where our heart and soul is put at by the budget that we're looking at and trying to approve. And so this is what's going on. This usually right now. I'm
and,
not going to be dismayed by the distractions and put in the atmosphere to take us off focus on what we need to be focused on right now during this time, because it is critical that we do this now. It's real
and that
critical.
was my next question. If the taxpayers and the community were going to be involved in the budget hearings, and will we have a schedule? Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. That question was posed to our leadership, and the only person I can pose that to is our city manager, and I'm waiting on that response. And so when I have that response adequate and the schedule of this, it will be transparently put forth, hopefully by everybody. And so that's where we at. And understand something. I promise you, we had a critical moment in this time period. Which, why are we taking off in July? But hey, whatever. And so I was just gonna keep resorting back to that. But however,
Sumlin, you got a
we're at
question?
where we're at now. Go ahead.
Yes, according to the media alert that came out this morning, and I know we've talked about this in previous meetings, and I don't know if you know the answer to this, but according to what came out this morning, has the city of Fulton actually lost 118 staff members this year, or from resignations?
Or more. I mean, I'm not going to despair. I mean, the truth is the truth, no matter how it is. The truth hurts, but it will set you free. As like, I'm not here to just, run from anything, but I'm not going to just say this year. I'm going to say since, definitely this budget year.
And how can we get a budget together when there's so many positions that have been that we don't even have filled, and we're trying to do a budget and we can't even fulfill the staff?
You see why this is the most critical point right now is what I'm trying to tell folks is that you just answered the question. That this is a critical a moment for us right here. Is I can't give oxygen to foolishness, people. I just can't do that. And so I'm not going to lose focus and sight. My only duty is fiduciary, and this is our duty right here. Is this is what you sign up for? We go 24 hours. It doesn't matter how long it takes, because we don't stop until this job gets done. This, literally, ladies and gentlemen, is what we are elected to do right here and right now, and I take that serious. And so that's why I will not give oxygen to foolishness and distractions that will keep us from the responsibility that we're duly elected to do and serve. And so, and I'm a little heated about that because, see, I just understand that, what are we doing this for, and why is this distraction so great that it's disrupting the city? That should not happen. But yes, go ahead.
Mr. Clark?
Yes, just to piggyback on the budgetary concerns, in those closed sessions that are not open to the public, who will be representing the interests of District 7 since there is a vacancy? That's part one of my question. Part two of my question is sort of piggybacking on Mr. Venable's concern as well. Will there be adequate focus on COVID prevention, basically sanitizing the areas that you guys are meeting in person, providing adequate supplies for the residents? Will there be a budgetary focus on COVID concerns, as we are not out of the water yet? And it's better for us to be duly prepared than to be woefully unprepared.
Absolutely, sir. Mr. Clark, thank you so much for that question. I appreciate that, because District 7 is underrepresented right now, but those talks is because we are a city out there. We, myself, my council member Natasha Williams, and my colleague JC has shared responsibilities in ensuring that that anybody from District 7, they can reach out to. Really, anybody can reach out to any member of council, but is that, they can reach out to us three too, as we will have a response, and we will have, because we have a responsibility to make sure that people are have some sense and representation, because that's truly an idea of taxation without representation at its finest hour. But that's a whole nother story and a topic for another day. But they can reach out to us to, and we do speak up for District 7, because don't nothing separate us but trees. And so, but they are also too is represented by us as well. So we will do all that we can, and continuing to do that. And so the second part of okay, hello. Okay, I think I hit mute by mistake here. And so but and the second part is repeat your second part again. So I just want to be, for accuracy and transparency's sake.
Yes, I just wanted to make sure that since we are not out of the water in terms of COVID concerns and response prevention.
Right, the COVID address is right. Is that you're right? Our emergency manager, we do have an emergency manager out there we'll be looking towards him to give us the accurate what we would need to be prepared if we shall face this again, not just for our residents but for our staff too, that focus heavily on what we need to have and put forth. So yes, as because we have a mask mandate and emergency ordinance, we should be talking about that preparation, shouldn't we? Assuming that those two things are in place by ordinance, which is law. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Knight, you have
Appreciate
a question?
it, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Knight, you have a question?
No question. Good evening, everyone. It's been an enjoyable moment of listening to all of you, as well as hearing the report of the tiny villages that are cottages. Tiny colleges. The cottages that soon will be coming to the city of South Fulton. We're going to speak it into existence, but it'll take time to happen. I want to first just thank Councilman for inviting us all out to our adult playground. That I had a great time playing bingo and look forward to the next. So more than that, just know that your Chamber of Commerce represent not only your city, but other cities of the county. And we greatly look forward to being a partner and doing whatever we need to do to help you move forward.
Thank you so much, Mr. Knight. I appreciate that. And so, you know, who has a boutique sanitation service as well. And so you can, you know, reach out to him through the city, the South Fulton Chamber. Also, a quick point too is, for those who don't know, I was gonna do this evening down at Ace Hardware, who has celebrated the grand opening of their UPS store. So you can now have your local UPS store at Ace Hardware, as you can go ship and get some tools and whatever else you need to is you know, one-stop shop there for those needs. And so I just took a little siesta and was not able to make that, honestly. And so, because you know, back in the field and in the saddle working, I mean, that sun does beat you down just a little bit. And so, you know what I mean, you want to be out there well rested and guided and sharp, because you do have to transition mindsets from work mode to council mode, as this is, you know, to understand that all the goings and comings and attending to the day's business at hand, because it's just so much action in one day, I tell you. But however, so that did not happen, but I do want to acknowledge them and tell them that their grand opening, and we will do that.
What's the location?
Ace Hardware, South Fulton Ace Hardware is down at on the corner of Old National Flat Shows, and right next over there to LA Fitness.
Okay.
I have a couple announcements before we wrap up. I posted it in the chat that I'll read it word for word, and that way I won't have to mess it up. City of South Fulton's Swordfish swim team is set to compete at the State Games of America in Des Moines, Iowa, July 27th through the 31st. The State Games of America is a biennial Olympic style event featuring state game winners from across the nation. To celebrate our 16 amazing swimmers and coaches, the Parks and Recreation and Cultural Affairs Department will be hosting a surprise send-off on Monday, June 25th at 6:30 at Stonewall Till. I'm sorry, at Welcome All parking lot. They want everybody to try to get there between 6 and 6:15 if you want to come to help send them off. So that is our swim team representing City of South Fulton. This Friday becomes our next Friday Night Live, 6 to 10 p.m. over at Burdette. Last event we did bingo. This one will be card night. So anybody who plays Uno to Bid Whiz to Tunk or whatever, you feel free to come and play. We also have the police versus fire rescue basketball game going on. And if you know anyone who wants to do flag football or kickball, let us know. And our food truck is fresh corn and everything. I hear there's some lemonade wings that you must have.
I'm trying to tell you.
Hey, I'm sorry, Tamiko, Tamiko,
Some
you
lemonade
said that-
wings.
Not lemon pepper.
Tamiko,
now, lemonade.
was that June the 25th? I mean, July the 25th?
Next Monday night. Next Monday night.
For the
For the
swordfish?
swim, that's next Monday night.
Okay.
So we'll
Thank-
probably
thank
have to do our meeting from there.
Thank you.
Well, we're doing the live at Burdette, and
Oh, yeah.
and so that's not I do understand that. We'll leave from there and go over there, but we're doing live at Burdette because the fourth Mondays we will be live at Burdette. Now is that that's interesting, but we're just gonna keep moving on with the moving on. But you know, they said everything is ready up to go, and so let's act accordingly, because that's not gonna hinder us. And I am because the mayor does have an open invitation to come on this anytime, but I'm going to be sure to personally reach out and say, I would love you to come personally over here as to join me live as we do address this. Come if you, and you're more than welcome as to come sharing this platform as I just that's there. So I'm open to that. But we're meeting live next week, and for 6:30, 7:30. Now, time may run a little over 15 minutes, but I believe in time as people have other things that they need to be doing and taking care of, but absolutely addressing the important issues that's important to them as well. And so that should be open to you all as our stakeholders, and that's going to happen. So I'll go over there after we're done at Burdett, but I'm not going to do on the fourth on the fourth Mondays. We will be live at Burdett. That's it. So I mean, that's it.
So our first in person since COVID, we will be at Burdett next week, 6:30 to 7:30.
Now I'm gonna advise everybody at 7:30. I like to be there, but I will be there a little early if you want to come a little early and have some other stuff you want to talk about. But 7:30 is because now we in person. I have to allow time out there for still daylight for people to get back home now who want to come. So I will be there early. If you want to be, we'll start the official from 6:30. But 7:30, I'm gonna be wrapping it up. And so, like I said, allow for 15 minutes. I respect everybody's time, but I do want to allow for time for people who need to get back home in a enlightened fashion to be able to do so and still want to attend. So, just want to put that out there.
This Thursday is the HOA quarterly meeting with the councilman. So any of you ask your HOAs, are they attending the meeting or sending a representative? Because all HOAs are not attending. We will be meeting this Thursday night.
And speaking of, it's like this, is on this Friday Night Live thing over here, because it is going to be a competition, but it's if y'all have a team that y'all want to put together in front of y'all community for y'all HOA, and they go against another team that forms out there for HOA, it can be any ages, everything could be uniform over here for a flag football or kickball. Put one together. As you know, y'all will have the Friday night the trophy for that bragging rights until next year, and hopefully Parks and Recs is going to expound upon this program. But however, that's what we will have. So y'all feeling competition ready out there is like, I think this would be a good little done in good spirit and good fun. And so represent your HOA. So you know what I mean? You want Waverly Park against, Buffington Ridge, you know what I mean? You want, Ponderosa out there against Mallory Walk, you know what I mean? Whatever you want to have. It's look here. If y'all feeling like y'all want to get out there and play some kickball, flag football, or basketball now, this is the same thing, and compete a little bit, let's run it up. But
Excuse me, Corey, before you go, where's the HOA mean for a representative? Tamika?
Oh, we're going to this Thursday. Oh, yes. I'll be remiss. This open at all, but particular HOA is like, because some of this situations we have. Madam Tammy Statler Jones, our city manager, will be speaking at Old Nehru. So we're going to actually have our HOA and ask our HOA roundtable to meet there as y'all leaders of the communities. And so you can ask directly and hear from the city manager some of those issues firsthand. So we're actually going to be at the Old Nehru meeting place that is right off of Creel Road in that subdivision. I get y'all the address, and so we'll make sure we send them the address for that. That's what I'm asking everybody to meet this Thursday at 6:30, because let's all join, because O'Dara is Old National Area Residents United, and Madam City Manager Jones will be there in our HOA roundtable. We can all unite, and anybody on this call, okay, and come join out there at that meeting as hear directly from the person who is responsible for the day-to-day activities and ensuring that you have the quality of life and, things are in place from the budget aspect and these dates right here, live and in person. So what better way and what better platform to be than to be live with her? And then followed up by Monday, live at Burdette. And I'm asking the mayor to be there. And so, as we'll never run from the issues, we will run to them. So that's where we're going to convene this week, this Thursday at 6:30. Asheville Area Residents United meeting place. Facts.
We'll send a text and an email reminder. Good night, everybody.
Good night. And remember one thing, thank you all for taking the time out to come and join this. As I thank you for all the questions that's been asked, you are my number one priority, my number one responsibility. And remember one thing, I love you and you can do absolutely nothing about it. And say something positive about the city of South Fulton and let's progress forward. And stop that standing together on purpose. Love you. Good night.